Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols and to Galileo Park. This place is really special, and it's really special to me, and everyone who comes here instantly kind of gets the fact that something extra special is going on here. It is kind of a little bit of a microcosm. There's so many different little lessons here, and it's really, really cool. And I think, the more I just shoot videos here, you'll kind of just understand. I want to talk to you guys today about how all of these abilities and all of these topics are all related. And it's important to understand that they are all related. If you think of them all as separate, it becomes more and more paranormal and mysterious and not grounded in reality. It becomes a place of suppositions as opposed to facts. And I think we all ultimately want the truth. This is my little meditation spot. Here's the representation of the sun. And behind the sun here, still kind of in the corona, is this wonderful glacial stone. It's a foundation stone, and you can see grooves going that way. When the glaciers retreated, they made these grooves all pointing that direction all over the city. It's one of the ways they discovered that the glaciers came down this far. So it's a pretty epic, amazing stone here. So, and I meditate here. And so a lot of people don't understand how ESP and the powers of the mind are related to extraterrestrials. And it's pretty simple. There is a field that unites all of these, what we consider strange paranormal phenomena, from ESP to psychokinesis and many other things. And this field has some qualities that we all know. It connects everything to everything, which kind of seems like a necessity in a universe. You'd have to have frames of references that are able to connect to everything. And perhaps consciousness are those frames of references that give it meaning. Regardless, if you're pursuing CE5 or pursuing the esoteric arts, ESP, or psychokinesis, you're pursuing the same thing. And it's a connection to the field, a connection to the signal. And inevitably, people want to get better. They want to get better at it. And you learn to meditate and do many things to increase the quality of your experiences and the proximity and power level of these experiences. And as you research, you'll discover little hints. Like the Yoga Sutras say that these things, these gifts, are just vistas on the path to virtue. And I've seen in my life, and especially lately, how virtuous acts from the heart, truly, not by design, to do anything other than it be a good act. They should just be done from the heart. Those things increase your character. They don't just help others, they build a strength within you. And I'll tell you, I'm going to lose all the brownie points for these stories I'm going to tell you really quickly. And these are all things that happened in the past 10 days. I haven't seen a good buddy of mine in a few years, and he's this big, tough black guy, and his name's Mike, and he's just a superhuman. He's a wonderful guy. I love him. He was there when my dog passed away, and we were both bawling, and he's just an amazing guy. Anyway, I hadn't seen him in about 2 years, and him and his wife had been living on the street. And I put my arm over her shoulder and said hi, and when I did, I got all these electric flashes of him beating her, hitting her in the eye, holding her wrist, putting her up against the wall, then these electric flashes, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I turned to him and I said, "How dare you hit her? And, you're better than that, Mike. God's watching us, blah, 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 blah." And we both start crying, and she starts crying, and he starts crying, and we're all crying. And I'm like, "I love you, man, damn it. Why are you doing this?" There's so many different ways that I could have approached that situation, but it came strictly from the heart. And he's a big dude. He could have gotten pissed. He could have gotten defensive. whatever. But it worked out being like a miracle. And it was pouring rain that night, and we were all crying outside in the rain. And I ended up taking him to detox, and then from detox to rehab. And I took his wife to her mother's house. And that's just one of these many incidents. Another incident was I'm sitting in the truck, and I turn around and I hear this commotion, and I see about 4 guys that I know from the corner over here, and like 5 others. So it's like 9 guys kicking and head stomping this white dude on the ground. And I like fly out of the car like a lightning bolt and get between the guys and start screaming at them. That's when my throat's all blown out right now. And they stopped. Miraculously, they stopped head stomping him. And then I saw this young buck coming around to the side, the right side of me. He was like trying to do the old sucker punch thing. And I turned to him and I said, "Don't even think about it." And he froze. And then the other guys were like, don't fuck with him. That's Russia. That's Russia. They call me Russia. Because when I first came to the area, they asked, like, what's my heritage? And so that was a really interesting incident. And the next day, one of those guys came up to me and said, you might have saved 10 lives last night. We were close to, we could have killed that dude and we all would have gone to jail, blah, blah, blah. And ever since then, I've been thinking like, wow, that's so incredible. Maybe that is possible that that's what happened that night. And of course, I lose all brownie points for saying anything about it. But, and of course, Stephanie was ragingly pissed that I do that. Most people are in a relationship would hate if you put yourself out there like that. And there's been several other incidents, big ones like this and like those. And those things have just like, although they've been draining and exhausting, they've been really beautiful too at the same time and given me greater strength. And at the same time, these virtuous acts not only give you spiritual strength, they give you kind of an empathetic strength. And in empathy and in love, you have a greater understanding of everything, I think, and a greater connection to everything. So, I'll tell you the one last story. I don't want to get emotional. There's a girl that I've been counseling in town here for about a year, and I work with some of the homeless people here, and I've taught a couple of them remote viewing, and I use that as like a lure to keep them to be sober and stuff like that. And one of them is doing incredibly well, Gyro. His name is Gyro. How great is that? Gyro, like gyroscope. And his first 2 were like 95s. It was incredible. He's really, really good, and I'm working with him. He's the guy with the screwdrivers who saw me bend the screwdriver without touching it, and then when I handed it to him, it was still bending. Anyway, there's this girl in the neighborhood, and her name was Blondie. She was a white girl, had a drug problem. She never had a chance. Just abused. And she died about a week ago around the corner. It just breaks my heart, breaks my freaking heart to just let her die there on the street. And, it kills me. It kills me because she was such a good person and she had got handed such a horrible hand. And, the Bronx here is a beautiful area. I've lived in all the boroughs, and there's no other borough that's more generous. The people here have nothing, but they will give you everything they have. And what I want to do, there's a lot of cool things I can do, and I can do some neat things, and I've been a tiny part of miracles. But there's a miracle that I need your guys' help with if you and the universe see it fit. This area needs a soup kitchen. And this soup kitchen could be a place where, drug addicts will spend their last penny on drugs as opposed to food. And it could be a place where we could begin a counseling session because all of these people are really hurt. They're not doing a shitload of drugs. I'm sorry to curse. They're not doing, all these drugs because they feel awesome and life's beautiful. And I look across from Galileo Park, and there's a little spot right over here. It's for rent or sale. And wouldn't that be an awesome little soup kitchen right there? And we could really save some lives. I can't do this miracle. It's too much for me. But if not now, someday. But I'm going to bring a little soup kitchen to this area, and it'll have like a transition point for drug users to kind of open up that discussion and give them resources. Hopefully you guys see how all of these things are connected. It's all about empathy and the big, most powerful card you can pull, and that's the love card. So if you're having difficulty, if you're going through adversity, don't try and be tricky. Don't try and sneak a way around it. Don't try and, all you have to do is bust out the truth and the love card. So I love you guys. I'm going back into the sun for now. Much love.